Saw the money and got activated. Saw the money and got activated. Saw that money and got activated. I saw that money and got activated. Canada Goose. Keep me wearing my Cold City. I got a pole with me. Black Horse 450.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the new build that we just recently bought, and kind of talk about the plans for it and maybe get started on it. The car is gutted completely, which I usually am not a big fan of gutted cars. I think it's stupid. There's really no point to gut a car if you're not going to cage it. I just think it's a stupid teenager thing where people gut their cars and like, oh, it's a race car. Like, Billy, your Honda Civic, bone stock Honda Civic, just because it's gutted is not a race car. That's kind of my take on it. But, you know, it is what it is. I guess gutting a car will make it a little more simple to work on things, I guess. But, yeah, this thing's completely gutted. Definitely going to buy a rear seat for it because my boy Cash has got to have somewhere to sit. And, you know, gonna get racing seats regardless. I'm gonna have to finish ripping out the rest of the carpet because they half-assed just kind of like stopped it there. So I think they sell like aluminum floor plates you can put down that kind of like cover all the wiring and stuff that I'll probably buy. I don't know if I'll bother with getting you know, fresh carpet or anything, because I personally like a street car has full interior, but that's just me. I know that there's like a pretty decently sized rust hole right here behind this back seat, which, you know, that ain't nothing but a thing. We'll fix that up. Aside from that, this car is like really clean. Everything else is solid. The kid kind of he cut the rear fenders. I'm not really sure why, but he did, and that doesn't really bother me that much because the car's getting over fenders anyway. So we'll probably cut it up a little farther and actually weld everything closed, so we don't get anything in the car. I forget where I was saying. Trey called me, but gonna weld the arches closed. Hopefully side skirts cover where you cut down here. I'm not 100% sure. I plan on getting front and rear bumpers regardless because I think he cut the back bumper too. The biggest thing that I was kind of like, damn, is the whole this up here. So instead of buying a sunroof delete, which is literally only like 200 bucks, they riveted a piece of rubber or plastic to the roof. I personally would rather literally super glue my sunroof closed before I ever did something this fucking stupid. Now I have to drill every single one of these rivets out and weld every single one of these holes closed for it to freaking look even remotely good. Oh, it looks like it might have rusted a little bit too. I don't know, that was kind of the biggest downside for me, is that's gonna suck, but it is what it is, I guess. The front clip is actually all tore apart. I just kind of like put everything on there to make it look presentable. The hood and everything's just sitting on there because the car does not have an engine in it. The kid said he tore it apart because he thought he started hearing a little bit of bottom end noise, and that's as far as I made it. So this side we haven't, it has coilovers on it. They were completely maxed out on adjustment. So earlier we lifted this side up, lowered it completely down, and put the BMW's factory wheels on it, which these are 15s and those are 17s that come on that. So they look pretty good on here because it's a bigger wheel than what's supposed to be on this car. So we still have to do it on this side, so that's what it looks like factory. But I'll give you a better idea of what the car looks like on the inside. Nothing fancy, just a gutted car. Body wise, there's really not any like rust besides, see, I thought this was plastic, but apparently it's not, and there's some rust here and here. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do about that because I don't think it's replaceable, so that's kind of sucky. Might have to grind it down and figure out, I don't know, figure out whatever with it. It's a drift car, so, you know, I'm not, these cars, so the reason I went with an E36, maybe I should bounce to that point. The reason I went with an E36 is because these cars in factory, like drivetrain, amazing drift cars, like stock angle, pretty much stock everything besides a hydro. They're amazing drift cars. A 240, they're great drift cars, but you put $5 grand into them before they're a good drift car. And don't quote me on that, you know what I mean? Like, obviously you could probably just buy one, weld the diff and drift it, but they're a lot less reliable as far as like beating on them goes. and you can come back to this video when this thing breaks and tell me that I'm a liar. But based off of like the research I've done over the years, these things are amazing drift cars. They look amazing. They're not as nearly as you know, completely like everyone has a 240. You know, you go to the track, you see a lot of these too, but not nearly as many. The car did come with 3-to-1 headers. Pretty much everything. It came with a transmission. It came with the engine, but it's completely tore down. I don't even trust to put it back together. You know what I mean? I don't even want to mess with that, especially with a car that I've never worked on. The last thing I want to do is try and guess on throwing an engine back together. So what we're actually about to go do is go buy an engine, and it actually comes with a transmission too. The kid said it ran before, has less than 100,000 miles on it, supposedly. I don't believe anything anyone says anymore because I've been getting pretty screwed over here lately, but yeah, that's the E36. I'm pretty pumped. Like, we're gonna make this thing sick. This car is sticking around, not selling it. I do plan on buying another hard body soon to flip, but this is all she wrote right here. So I think we're gonna pull the Cummins forward, unload the block and stuff out of it, and then go get this engine. Well, we picked up our engine. Didn't even realize this thing was an automatic until we got it back here, and that explains why it was so extremely heavy to lift into the bed of this thing. But I was worried for a second because it kind of looks like a different engine, and the serial numbers are different on the block and stuff like that, which I don't think matters all too much. The head and everything looks the same. So these engines are super confusing because they all look the same. And they're like different liters and stuff. I measured the deck height, and it was the same as the other block, so can't be that different, I guess. Now the biggest thing is trying to figure out how to get this out of the bed, because we put it in their engine first and we really need to lift it at the engine. So what I might end up doing is separating the trans while it's in the truck, and maybe do it that way. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, we got an engine. So we got the car 2 days ago, and we got an engine 2 days later. So the good thing is the stuff that's missing, we have here. The only thing I'm really worried about is he left the injector rail just kind of like laying on top of the cowl while it sat outside. Hopefully it doesn't need injectors, because I think they're like pretty expensive. And I'm also kind of bummed that this was an automatic, because we have to buy a flywheel, and the flywheels for these things are so expensive for no reason. They're like $700. Like, for what? Why is a flywheel for this thing so expensive? So if I could find one local or a used one and just resurface it, that would be obviously more ideal. But yeah, this is it. I think we're gonna probably start cleaning. I'm gonna pull the front clip back off of it, kind of organize all these parts, and then start cleaning all the windows, clean the body up, and start drilling out rivets on that. Not that this is a priority, but I don't think we're gonna be able to get the motor out of the bed tonight. And I need an engine stand because I want to degrease it, reseal it, all that stuff, so it won't go in right away. As much as I would love to just throw it in there and drive the car, I want to actually clean it up and stuff just while it's out, kind of thing. I would hate to put it in there and then it leak oil and then I got to pull it back out. So yeah, we're going to do the old cleanup job on it, and then maybe I'll do a little magic. Okay, so I didn't record any of it, but we've been spending probably the last 2 or 3 hours scrubbing this thing. The engine bay is completely clean now. Clean the subframe, the steering rack, I mean everything. Cleaned the windshield, cleaned the wheels, cleaned all the glass. Kind of went through everything, put everything back in the car. Yeah, so the engine's really kind of ready to go in. As you know, we got to clean the engine up and get a flywheel and clutch, and then this thing can pop right back in there. And we also got to find this. Okay, so the last clip you just saw was probably filmed like a week ago or 2 weeks ago. The car is now dusty all over again. Like, that's just from it sitting here. But I've been having, so the reason most of the reason I've been lazy and not uploading on YouTube is because I have a 32 gigabyte SD card in this GoPro and I only have 2 batteries. Usually what happens is every time I pick up the camera, either the GoPro dies or the SD card ends up being full. And it's super frustrating because I'll be like, I'll put all this effort in and then the camera dies and I don't have time to sit here and wait for a camera to charge to continue what I'm doing. So then what happens is I just keep going, and then the next thing you know, I've already done 15 things and there's no point in even trying to film the video. And it's not that the parts that I need are expensive, it's just laziness. So I finally ordered a 128 gigabyte SD card, and I ordered 2 new batteries and a charger where you don't have to charge it in the GoPro. So now I have no excuse not to film. But that's gonna pretty much wrap up this video. The next video you see will probably be us putting the engine in because I've already cleaned it all up and stuff, but I'm not gonna go over that right now. We'll go over that in the next video. But yeah, sorry guys. That's really it, and stay tuned for the next one. Hope you guys like the e36. Deuces.